He is breaking out for Ohio State. A new award has proven one of the number one players that Ohio State needed to develop this season is developing in a great way, and we got to break it all down. What's up, guys? I'm Matt Long. Welcome to Columbus Football 365. If you're an Ohio State football fan, hit that subscribe button. Let's get into the news for today. Coming from OhioState.com themselves, following the first 300-yard passing performance of his young career, Ohio State's Julian Sayin has been named the Big Ten Freshman of the Week. Sayin, a sophomore academically and a redshirt freshman eligibility-wise, was 18 for 19 for 306 yards and 4 touchdowns in last Saturday's 70-0 win over Grambling. He completed 16 consecutive passes to start the game, an Ohio State record, and had scoring strikes of 47 yards, 87 yards, 13 yards, and 9 yards, respectively. Sayin led Ohio State to score on 5 of its 6 first-half drives. Through 2 games, Sayin leads the Big Ten in completion percentage at 79.5% and is third in quarterback rating at 209.7. He and the top-ranked Buckeyes at 2-0 returned to action on Saturday versus Ohio, is currently 1-1 at Ohio Stadium, a.k.a. the Horseshoe, a.k.a. you already know what it is. Ohio State, the number 1 ranked football team, defending champions. All we needed was for Julian Sayin to develop, and this team was going to be a back-to-back threat. If he, it's always a question mark when you're bringing in a guy as young as Julian Sayin, someone with almost zero previous experience, no starting experience at least, and he came out against Texas and, was a little bit lower in, we didn't ask him to do a whole lot against Texas, only put up 126 yards, 1 touchdown, and about a, 65% completion percentage, just off the top of my head, 13 for 20. So the question was, yes, Ohio State's defense is elite. Behind Caleb Downs and Matt Patricia, that's elite. The offense, the pass-catching threats, Carnell, Tate, Jeremiah Smith, absolutely elite. The running back room, offensive line, it's Ohio State. You'll already know it's always going to be elite. The question mark was, what is Julian Sayin going to bring to the table as the starting quarterback? And he only just is absolutely showing out right now. After that Texas game, he has shown that if he's not going up against a top 5 team or wherever Texas is ranked right now, they're probably 6 or 7. If he's not going up against an elite SEC defense, the dude is going to rip your defense absolutely to shreds. And he's being awarded and being respected as such with this award as the Big Ten Freshman of the Week. Also, we already read off what his stats were against Grambling, but 4 touchdowns, 1 interception, 300 yards, 18 for 19. We love to see the development, which is the most important part, because what he did against Texas, while it worked against Texas and we won that game, we want to see more. And I understand Brian Hartline, the offensive coordinator for Ohio State, he kept the game plan relatively simple for Julian Sayin because the last thing you want to do is put too much on the plate of a young player and he makes a mistake. We watched Arch Manning in that game, threw an interception. Julian Sayin didn't throw an interception. In a 1-score game, any 1 turnover can be the difference between winning and losing in what is guaranteed to be a humongous, unless you win the Big Ten, it's going to be a humongous difference maker when it comes to seeding at the end of the year for the college football playoff. Now, right now, Ohio State looks absolutely unbeatable, but the football is not round. A football is shaped the way it's shaped because it can bounce any way, and you always got to make sure you are on your toes when you are playing this game. Julian Sayin, the development is everything really that you could have hoped for this early in the season. You want to make sure the expectations aren't too high because you don't want to have that same, I don't want to keep talking down on Arch Manning, but he really just is the perfect expectation or the perfect example of what can happen when your expectations are set absolutely too high. Maybe, some of it was what he did in his first 2 starts. Some of it was because of the last name or because of the traits that he has, and everyone's excited for him for the NFL and what his future is going to look like. But we have to remember, these guys, even though they come in as top recruits, that doesn't mean they're going to be fantastic college football players. But Julian Sayin certainly looks like he is on the trajectory to become a great quarterback for Ohio State. It was always going to be tough to fill the shoes of Will Howard, who some people are calling an Ohio State legend. If you want to go that far, I fully support that. National championship quarterback. You great outcome. Of course, Will Howard was a fantastic quarterback. It was always going to be difficult to have the next quarterback fill in the gaps behind him. But continuing to look forward with Julian Sayin, he's going to have another, Grambling was a little bit of it was a tune-up game for Ohio State in week 2. Usually the tune-up game is week 1, but not this year. So Ohio is going to be another weaker MAC opponent for Ohio State to continue just to figure out everything that's going on offensively. We're going to figure out how exactly everyone's going to mesh with each other. It's looked beautiful so far. We want to see more of what happened against Grambling, where just the offense is firing on all cylinders. I'm not expecting to see the defensive breakdowns like what led to that really long Jeremiah Smith touchdown, but you just want to watch Julian Sayin continue to develop, continue to learn how to read defenses, learn how to understand the picture that the defense is showing him pre-snap, and know where the holes are and know where his guys are going to be. And then after the ball snapped, understand the way safeties rotate, what else can he expect, and how to make adjustments on the fly. Guys are coming fast and furious in the Big Ten. Pass rushers, they're scary dudes. You got to make sure that you are absolutely ready for anything. And just in a couple weeks here, Big Ten play is going to start with that first matchup against Washington. Don't expect that one to be too difficult. Following it up with Minnesota, who just absolutely I don't know how the team that they just beat, I don't even know how they can stay as a college football program. They got absolutely destroyed. The score was like 70-0 or something. Minnesota absolutely knocked them off the map. You cannot overlook anyone in the Big Ten. It's too tough of a division, except for Purdue. Definitely overlook Purdue. But Illinois is the number one thing that this offense and this team as a whole right now needs to be preparing for. That game is going to be really tough. Luke Altmaier, extremely veteran quarterback. He knows what he's doing. He can play at a very high level. Illinois, they're ranked as highly as they are for a reason. After that, Wisconsin is going to be weaker than that. But then that matchup versus Penn State, very excited for that. If Florida International can be in the third quarter against Penn State, only down by 10, what is Ohio State going to do to that team? If Penn State is still ranked as highly as they are right now, when we end up playing them in a couple months here, I think that is a fantastic opportunity to make a statement, another statement, as if Ohio State so far this season doesn't have to make any more statements, coming out, beating number 1 Texas, and then destroying a weaker opponent like Grambling. There is no one sleeping on Ohio State right now, but if you look at the ESPN rankings, there's still people voting for other teams as the number 1 team, which means that there are still non-believers, and Ohio State, it's about winning games, going to the playoffs, quieting down the non-believers, and that all starts. The only reason why you wouldn't vote Ohio State 1 is because you don't trust Julian Sayin, but Julian Sayin, his development is going fantastically so far, and I can't wait to see how he continues to develop as we finish out the non-conference schedule and then move into Big Ten play. Can't wait to see what it looks like. That's what I got for this video. If you enjoyed the video, please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and go Buckeyes.